Hello Skinny Chip Nation, Happy New Year. It's kind of been a while. I kind of dropped off my YouTube game about 6 months ago because it's so much more time and effort than TikTok, but I'm trying to get back on the grind. So I thought I'd do a video showing you how I've set up my bullet journal for 2026. Also, sorry if I sound really weird. I'm wearing my retainers and I feel like they make my mouth really dry and also give me a bit of a lisp. So apologies for that. Anyway, yes, I'm a bullet journal girl. This is my 6th year bullet journaling. I love watching videos of other people showing off their bullet journals and how they do it. So I thought I'd show how I do mine because I've kind of got it down to a T at this point. I do pretty much the same thing every year. This was my 2025 bullet journal. Basically every year my boyfriend gets me my new journal for either Christmas or my birthday, because my birthday is the 6th of January. And for the past 5 years, I've been using Moleskine journals, obviously the OG. But Louis really likes to get me a different colour every single year, and Moleskine are kind of lacking in the colour department. So this year he asked me if he could get me one of the Leuchtturm, I think it's pronounced Leuchtturm, you know the ones. So we've got a lovely lilac journal this year. I had this coral pink one 2 years in a row. The only other nice colour Moleskine do is a turquoise one, which I've also had before, or obviously the classic black ones. And what I will say is, I think I am enjoying the Leuchtturm journal more, and I'll tell you why. At the beginning of Moleskine journals, I have all these pages at the front that I never ever use. Like all of the excessive details, I kind of hate it, a world map that I never use, and then loads of pages for the contents. And another thing that I hate is they put the pen test in for you, page 149. Why would I want page 149 at the top of my table of contents? I want to start from number 1, so that always annoys me and I never use the contents either. Whereas this journal just gets straight into it. I just put a sticky note over my address. But yeah, you just have this little short page for your details. Just 2 pages for the contents, which I think is plenty. And then you're straight into the journal. What I will say is the pages in this are thinner. So the pens don't necessarily bleed through the paper, but you can kind of see through the paper, which I don't really mind, but I know that other people would mind. And the pens that I use in this are Crayola Superwash felt tips. I've got the pastel pack, and then I use these Helix, girl, please focus. Helix Oxford Colour Gel, and I've got these in all sorts of colours. I just got the blue ones out to show you. And then for actually writing in the journal day to day, I use these Uniball Signo. They're like kind of a jelly ballpoint pen. I really like how these write. Oh, and I also use these Chrome Flow coloured pencils to add some details in there as well. The first thing that I always do when I get my bullet journal is go straight to the back and do a pen test. So I just test all my pens, and then I also leave this space free so that when I'm doing my monthly spreads, I can play around with the colour combinations and stuff. So these are all the colour combinations that I've done for the first couple of spreads. Oh yeah, what I also like about this journal is it comes with these stickers for archiving it once you've done with the journal. So these are spine stickers, so when you put it on your bookshelf, you can read on the spine what year it is and whatever. And obviously it's got a pocket in the back like the Moleskine, so I like that. The size of these pages are also different to the Moleskine, so I did have to reconfigure all the spreads that I usually do. So I just made a note of how many dots down and across it is, so that I always have this handy when I'm doing new spreads. Yeah, these are all my pen tests. And one thing that I started doing towards the end of last year is I'll colour with felt tip and then do a texture on top with a coloured pencil. So you're going to see a lot of like these textures throughout the bullet journal that I've done so far. Or like just doing a little stripe. I just love the texture of it on top of a felt tip. And obviously I decorated the front with all my stickers from my collection. This is actually a sticker I designed myself a few years ago for an art project. This one's by Eva Malley. And then I think all the rest are from stickermagic.co.uk, which is like the best. These are my absolute favourite stickers, if anyone is interested. Just like the illustration on them and like the kind of weird sayings, like this 3 cheers one's so good. But that's besides the point. Okay, so first page, just my details. This is the contents that I started filling out. Love that it doesn't put a random page 149 in there for me, as I previously said. And then I just did this like little kind of cover page because it was looking lonely. Pretty basic, but whatever. Okay. The first spread that I always do is my year at a glance. I do this layout like every single year. Let me show you last year's. This was last year's, pretty much kept it exactly the same, just had to change the spacing a bit. But what I do, as you can see, is I'll go in and circle important dates and then write them down. So like if I have something coming up months in advance, I'll just pop it in, and then by the time I get to October, for example, in my bullet journal, I'll like fill it in for the month. If you get what I mean? So this is more like long-term look ahead. I also haven't filled out any of my bullet journal yet because I didn't want to like give away details of my life when I filmed this video. Like, I don't want you guys knowing when my driving test is going to be because that might jinx it. Okay, the next spread that I've done this year is 30 before 30 because I've just turned 29. So I've made a list of like 30 things that I kind of want to achieve before next January. And they're not like big things, you know, like become a millionaire or anything like that. It's like small achievable stuff like finance goals or like get a massage, stuff like that. Things that would like set me up for my 30s. I'm gonna do a whole TikTok video going through it and probably like document some of the stuff that I do on TikTok as well if anyone's interested in that. But yeah, this has replaced my usual goals page. Usually I do like a manifestations for the year kind of page, but instead this year I've done this 30 before 30 thing. And then next, I have books that I've read. I think this is like my 3rd year doing this spread, and I've never filled out all the way to number 24, but each year I've read more and more books, so I'm pretty happy with that. And what I do is when I've read a book, I do a little drawing of the cover and put it in the little slot. So I'll show you last year's. So it ends up looking really nice like this. I actually did read 20 books last year, but I didn't get around to filling out the last few. But yeah, it looks really cool. And then hopefully this year I'll make it all the way to number 24. But honestly, even just 20 books is really good because the year before I only did 12. And then after that, I'm just going straight into January 2026. I have in the past like played around with having other spreads like habit trackers, finance trackers, stuff like that. But I just never used them throughout the year. So these are the 3 that I actually will be using. Because I've been bullet journaling for so many years now, I feel like I've got to the point where I know what spreads I use, what ones I don't, and I just kind of cut the stuff that I don't. I do still sometimes add in new things because it's like a very flexible thing, bullet journaling. You don't have to stick to the same spreads religiously. You can always try new things, see what works. Anyway, yeah, this is how I do my monthly month at a glance spreads. I do pretty much the same design every month. So I box it in like this and then like color in different bits. I used to do like full-on designs, you know, like those really cool bullet journals you see online where I'll do like, I don't know, drawing of stars or like constellation or something. But I was in university back then, I had a lot more time. I don't really have the time to like come up with spreads and stuff these days, so I just do a cute little thing like this. And I actually did mess this up, you guys. When I first drew this out, I accidentally did 6 rows instead of 5, and you can kind of see the line behind. But I just stuck a piece of paper over the top and called it a day, because I'd already done this spread, so I wasn't going to rip it out. But you know, I think it's the mistakes that really make a bullet journal personal. And yeah, you can kind of see what I was saying about being able to see the pen through the paper, so it hasn't like necessarily bled, you can just see it because the pages are a bit thin. But I think once all these are like filled out and once all this has got writing in it, it really won't be that noticeable, and again, it doesn't really bother me. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I really like a notebook or like a sketchbook when the pages have been really worked into and you can like feel the writing through the page. Do you know what I mean? I just love like the feeling of a thin piece of paper with writing on it, but that might just be me. Okay, and then this is how I always do my weekly spreads. Again, haven't filled it in because I don't want you guys to know what I do week to week, but I just prepare them all in advance for the month. On the left, Monday to Friday, I have like proper time blocked schedules, so I'll like put blocks in when I'm working, when I'm, I don't know, doing whatever. And then for the weekend, I just do 2 little boxes because I don't really do that much of a structured day on the weekend. And then on this side, I have my running list. And you guys, when I discovered the concept of a running list, it genuinely changed my life. I think I discovered this from watching a bullet journal video years ago, and I've been doing this ever since. I just got the days of the week across the left and then the running list here. And the idea is you just make a continuous list. If you don't do it on one day, you can just pass it over to the next day until finally you can cross it off when it's done. So let me give you an example because it kind of doesn't make sense unless you see it in action. So let's say I wanted to film this video on Monday. Okay, so I'd write it down like that. If I didn't quite finish it or I didn't get around to it, what I do is a little arrow like this and just move it across to the next day. And then if I filmed it on Tuesday, I just scribble it in. So I just kind of write down all the tasks that I need to do and work through them like that, kind of. Obviously there's some that have to be done on specific days, but you get the gist. If I no longer need to do a task, for example, if I needed to buy milk, but then my boyfriend texted me on the way home from work and he was like, oh, I've actually bought this milk, so I no longer need to do that. I just put a cross through it, like that. And then if it gets to the end of the week and there are still things outstanding, you can just like carry it over to the next week and start again. Literally, once I found out about this organisational method of list writing, I did not look back. It just kind of like clicked for my brain, so maybe it will click for other people's brains. And then on the right hand side, I also do a little notes section for any like random thoughts, events, things to do. I got all the weeks of January all ready to go. And then the only other thing that I do at the end of the month is like a content ideas dump. I like to put this at the end of the month because then it can also kind of run into the next month. And this is just like where I dump ideas for TikTok mainly, but also Instagram, YouTube perhaps. So I literally just write it down, and then I've got 3 tick boxes for when I filmed it, when I've edited it, and when I post it. Sometimes I also make kind of like a brain dumpy thing like this for things that I want to make, like sewing projects or just art ideas. If I have a load of ideas in my brain, I just need to get them out. But yeah, that's the last spread that I have set up for the new year. And that is the front of my bullet journal. I'm so nosy and I love seeing inside other people's journals, so I hope there are some other nosy people who watch this and enjoy watching this. And maybe I'll post some more YouTube videos this year, but I'm not making any promises after how last year went.